Aha, we are live. We are live, and I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to get on and to hop on because it's early. So we will get started in 2 minutes. 2 minutes from now. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Good evening. I think that I did have the chat. I do have the chat box up. I don't want it to go too far down because I've got a couple of links there that I will reference again in a minute. But if you can see that link to the right of your screen in the Dropbox, I'm going to reference 2 flyers tonight that I want to share with you. So if you want to go ahead and click on those, and if you're set up so that you can print them around you, great, or put them on your screen when I reference them, or print them later. That is fine as well. So, wow, you're coming on. You guys were ready. You had your smartphone set. I'm so excited. What a privilege. What an honor. A lot of times I'll do a Hangout. It'll be, to be watched later. So it's definitely more fun live, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Popping on, popping on, popping on, popping on, popping on. How exciting. That's awesome. Okay, we are 30 seconds or so away from our official start time, and I'll start on time, as y'all know. Now, end on time is a different topic. I'm not sure that Lily gave me an ending time, but I have time in mind. Really, this is normally my wash my face, start to wind down time. This is not my amp up time. So for those of you who are night owls, and if you know anything about me, you know that I start to wind it down. Okay, hey, it is 8 o'clock in the Central Time Zone. Welcome to your DIQ Hangout for the week, and just a big shout out to NSD Lily Goutreau for putting this together. What a brilliant coordinated effort to bring our DIQs to a place of elevation and a place of excellence and a place of a launching pad so that your journey through DIQ to directorship and into your first months of directorship could be something so very different and exciting. I know her inspiration behind it was immediately why I jumped on board, which is to say, I want to see our DIQs strong. I want to see our DIQs breaking records, and I want to see our DIQs in DIQ, successful, out of DIQ, and launching forward. How does that sound? Well, I'm so glad you've joined me tonight. I am Executive National Sales Director Pam Shaw, joining you this evening from Bowling Green, Kentucky. And it is my privilege to take the next little bit of window of time to share with you what I believe is going to be a difference maker for your DIQ journey. Now, I know there are also directors on this line. And so for that, I just say welcome, because sometimes a director needs to put herself back in DIQ, find the inspiration to come back and build. We can all get stuck. You can get stuck from a position of anywhere. You don't have to be a consultant or a DIQ to get stuck. You can be a director and get stuck. Guess what? You can be a national and get stuck. Stuck is not a respecter of persons. It is a mindset, and usually it happens when the vision has faded and too many limiting beliefs or too much doubt has rolled in. So this Hangout is for everyone who wants to grow. So if you're on here and you're not a DIQ, don't eliminate yourself for thinking, well, this isn't for me. If you're a sales director, this is for you. So here's how I want to start. If I recall the first DIQ Hangout we did, there were over 3,000 views on the first Hangout. And then as each week passed, that number dwindled. And that is how life works. So no matter where you are, there are the interested, that would be nice, dreamers, and then there are the committed. And this is true in and out of Mary Kay. It's true at every career path of Mary Kay. You're starting your leadership journey in our company, but you'll easily find directors with unit sizes under 50, not because they're not capable, but because it would only be nice to have a unit of 100, drive the prestigious Cadillac, become a senior or an elite executive, or have a unit of 150, or go on the trip to Rome, or have a unit size of 200 or 300 and do the million. It would be nice to build a national area. Who wouldn't enjoy the perks of each of those benchmarks? But it's the few who get the right combination of the right key components of success who will go the distance. What are those key components? Well, that's going to be my finisher. That's where I'm going to finish. And so first of all, I want to thank you and congratulate you. I want to congratulate you for being on this call in May, because it started way back months ago. But tonight I'm talking to the finishers, because those of you who are on this call, you see a 60-yard sprint to the finish line, and you know you can do it, and you want every ounce of inspiration and education and information that you can get to accelerate your finish. So tonight I want to walk you through some areas, different areas that I think it's 7 of what I deem to be character traits of DIQs who finish strong and who also keep growing. Our goal is not to finish DIQ. Our goal is to successfully learn and advance through the process of director in qualification so that we are qualified as new directors to keep growing and building our organization. DIQ is not a finish line. It is a launching pad. So here are this, I think there's 7. I wrote XX and I forgot to go back and put the number that I actually did because I wasn't sure what number I was going to have, but I think it's 7. If it's not, I'll correct myself at the end. So number 1. People who successfully move through DIQ and who also continue strong and continue growing. Number 1, they see DIQ as a specific and brief season of life. It's one that gives them an opportunity to learn, to polish, and to perfect skills they didn't have coming into Mary Kay. Of course, certain things take longer because certain skills take longer. Like when you first did your party, do you remember how long it took you to prepare for your party, to pack your car for your party, to set up for your party, to get home from your party, to unpack from your party? Remember when it used to take like all day? And so when now you can pack for a party, you can go to a party, you can forget your trays, you can improvise because you have more skill in that. So of course, DIQ is going to take more time right now because there are skills that you're learning. So the way you're working right now, you're not always going to work this hard doing this thing because you're going to get better at this thing. Now, other things may take you longer on your next leg of your journey, but these things you're going to get during DIQ, but you've got to give them the focus. So they set the start and stop dates. People who succeed, they set the start and stop date and bam. They don't enter it like, well, you know, if it works out, then I'll advance to month 2. If it doesn't work out, I'll resubmit. No, successful people enter it, bam, this is their month. And they know they're going to finish month 1. And then they plan to finish it all in month 1 and or month 2. So people who succeed, they set a start date and a stop date and they go after it. And they commit to it. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story here. I'm going to interject. For those of you who don't know my story, you guys always assume that people do, but not everybody does. So when I moved into DIQ, there were so many things going on in my life. I don't really even know how at my age, which I was 26 at that time, that I was really managing it. It was the beginning of my 5th year teaching, and my roommate Candy, that I loved and adored, had already moved away, and she had moved to Tampa, Florida, from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to enter medical school. I knew that I was going to be leaving education, and so from August to December, I was grieving that she was gone, grieving that things were not the same as they had been for my other 4 years teaching. Libby was also, maybe she was moving away that very same season of life. Everything that had been stable was changing. I was grieving leaving education. I had to make the decision my first month on Target Car, because in that window of time, you had to go 3 months for car qualification. Your entrance into DIQ was not 10 active and being a star consultant. It was having earned the use of a career car. So I had 3 months, had to take all 3 of the car, and then 3 months of DIQ. So I had a 6-month qualification. Well, I couldn't quit my job. Plus I was contracted for the year. So I continued to teach. So in December, I had told my director in October that I would go on Target for my car because I got so excited, and I had met Cheryl Warfield and heard her speak for the first time, and I was inspired, and I felt God calling me to directorship, but I had no skills. And so I just said I was going to do it, but I didn't book anything in October, November, or December. So for 90 days after I knew God had spoken to me, I didn't do anything. I could say I didn't know what to do, but I wasn't accountable to even know what to do. I didn't do anything. So when I went home for Christmas, my senior director, the late Nancy Perry, who actually passed away 3 months after my late husband from the same disease, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, which is really a fairly rare disease. So, there's just a lot of loss in that piece of my story. But Nancy at that time called me in January. I told her when I came back from Christmas, I would do whatever she told me to do. And so I got back from Christmas, and I took down the Christmas decorations while Candy and Libby went to Key West for New Year's Eve. And I toasted myself with a glass of water, and I got out at that time what was called a nothing book. It was just a blank book. And I wrote out my goals. And I made a commitment on that New Year's Eve that I would be going on target for my car in January, and that the next 6 months would be my story. They would be my 6 months of my story, of my I story. And I made a decision, I was going to leave teaching, because the other decision I had to make, I could either leave education or I could go back to college and get 6 hours college credit. Well, my teaching schedule at that time was I was up at 5:30 to be at school by 6:45. I taught 4 hours of English, 2 hours of dance. I coached the drill team, the dance team, the JV cheerleaders, and I choreographed the musicals. So I had about 90 hours of committed work at the school. In fact, when my principal who hired me left 3 years into my teaching, she came to my door, she knocked on my door, and she said, "Pam, I just want to tell you something." I said, "What is it, Beverly?" She said, "You make 14 cents an hour." I'm like, "Why would she tell me that?" And it took me, it was a long time later before I realized, first of all, how much respect she had for me and what she saw in me. I adored this woman. She was one of my first really strong role models outside of my family. And I still get a Christmas card from her every year. And every year she has a story. Guess who I met this year? I just love saying when someone says they're with Mary Kay, I just love to say, "Do you know Pamela Waldron Shaw?" So this is my principal who hired me that I love. So she left, and I knew that I was going to be leaving. I knew that I could not. I was already in $16,000 personal debt. I had my why to get through DIQ. But I also knew that my situation was impossible. I had no extra time, none. I was in debt. I didn't have full inventory, had everything stacked against me. I was in Fort Lauderdale. I didn't have family around, didn't have established relationships around, peer teachers, our students, and their parents, and that was it. And so I had to warm chatter my entire DIQ journey. So I made a commitment that I would enter in January and I would exit in June. So in January, Nancy calls before school started back. She goes, "Hey, what have you got set up?" I didn't have anything set up. And she kind of read me the riot act. It was the first time that she had been what I would interpret snippy with me, but it wasn't snippy. It was firm, and I didn't like firm, and I didn't like boundaries, and I didn't like accountability, and I was a little bratty at 26. And, it took some seasoning to recognize all of that. And so she kind of just said, basically, if you want to do this, I'm available. And if you don't, kind of don't waste my time. I mean, she did not say that because she was far too gracious, but that's what she was saying. So I showed her, I got on the phone and I booked 3 or 4 interviews like bam, that she was going to pick me up in her Cadillac and we would go to together. And long story short, went on target for my car in January. In February, on February 8th, I called her to say, "I don't see how it's going to happen. I don't see anything happening. What do you have on your date book? How many parties do you have this week? You want to stay focused on the 3 + 3 + 300 p.m., 3 parties, 3 strong face interviews every week, and 300 in new sales every week." And that was 30 years ago, y'all. So our product line has changed. So I would say today, 3 strong parties, 5 strong face interviews, and 500 minimum in sales, in new sales to new customers. But so I got in motion, and that very same month, February, I went to my then principal and I let her know that I would be leaving education. This was exceptionally emotional for me because my parents, my late father and my mother, are retired educators. So for me, it's all I'd ever known. It's what I grew up in, and I didn't know anything else. So there was also that emotional wear and tear. But I let her know that I would be leaving, that I would not be renewing my certificate. And the problem with me letting her know that I was leaving is they love me. I mean, I worked for 14 cents an hour. Who wouldn't love me? I opened the school. I closed the school. It was Pam Shaw, Pam Waldrop, the football coaches, and the custodians. And that's who opened and closed the school. And so who do you get to replace all that? How do you get a drill team coach and a dance team coach and an English teacher? And how do you replace all that in one person? It wasn't going to happen very easily. So she was not very supportive, to say the least. So not only that was happening, I had the emotional tear of leaving my students because after I went to tell my principal, I went to tell my drill team because I had them next. The floodgates. Oh, Ms. Waldrop, please don't leave. Oh, Ms. Waldrop, please wait till we graduate. I mean, it was like, oh, my heart, be still my heart. And, you know, please wait till we graduate. That would never end. That would never stop. There would always be another class of people that I was in love with. So I had the emotional tear, the financial tear, the spiritual tear, my roommates and girlfriends. The reason I moved to Florida, I was leaving teaching. That was unwinding. Everything was unstable. And it was under that umbrella that I made my commitment. Now, I'll just tell you the rest of the story real fast. We finished our car in March, April, May, June. DIQ completed directorship. Last month of DIQ, we did over 24,000 in wholesale production, debuted 2 offspring directors right behind that. There's more to that story, but I'm just going to take you through the DIQ part. It was a decision. It was very difficult. In the 3rd month of car qualification, I got strep throat. And I was so sick, but I pushed through. I missed 2 days of school. I continued to do my DIQ. I absolutely was not going to start over. I don't think I knew that you could. I think that was part of it. I've always been just a little bit too dumb to doubt and just knew just enough information to move to the next step. I did everything Nancy told me to do. I stayed completely connected to her. I talked to her every night, like live phone. We didn't have cell phones. And I would fall asleep with her on the phone. Literally, I used to fall asleep with her talking to me. I'd be like, oh, Nancy, I'm so sorry. I don't know how long I've been asleep. She'd talk. So in June, I took my drill team on a cruise. And we were going to get a discount for the cruise if they would perform on the ship. And of course, I threatened them within an inch of their lives. I'm, you know, still 26 and they're all 19, 18, 19. If you drink on this cruise, I will throw you overboard. You know, this is my gift to them, just to take them on something fun. And of course, this is in the middle of DIQ. You don't make these kind of trips during DIQ. But I remember getting back, and it was near the end of June. It was almost over. School was already out. And I remember them getting in their parking and being in the parking lot, and us getting off the bus and them getting in their cars and flitting away. And there was no social media then. So there was no really hope of seeing them again, really, because that's not the way life was at that time. And I stood in that parking lot and I just wept because I grieved my old life that was going away. I'd heard other people behind my back, court of public opinion. She thinks she's going to earn a living selling lipstick. Oh yeah, well, she'll be back to education. Well, you know, blah, blah, blah. People who were my friends. So there was so much going on that I praise God that I had just enough faith and just enough tenacity and just enough maturity and just enough focus to push through it. I know your circumstances are probably very different from that, whether it's children's season of life or another job season of life or aging parent season of life or my exact same season of life. There's something that becomes a part of your story. But I took a picture with Cheryl Warfield when I first met her, and when I felt God tell me that I was to be a sales director, and I put it on my bathroom mirror and put her note that she wrote me afterwards on there. And in lipstick, I wrote 3 + 3 + 300. And then below that, I wrote, if I can do this, I can do anything. And there was an instinct in that window of time that let me know that season of DIQ, it was more than just proving that I could become a director. It was a proving ground of my character. It was a proving ground of my faith. My faith strengthened during that time. It was one of the most early faith building seasons of my life. There were other seasons after that I can also point to that have been faith building, but that was definitely one of them. And there was just an inner knowing that when I do this, I will have created a foundation for resilience and tenacity and perseverance that will serve me in my life. I had an inner knowing about that. So I'm telling you, move through DIQ this one time. Now, quickly, let me say, other people have resubmitted and other amazing winners have resubmitted and other people do resubmit. There's no shame in resubmitting or starting over. Cindy Williams first made this phrase famous: give me a recommitted consultant any day, because you know there's a weathering that's involved in that. So on the one hand, I want to say, set your time frame, put an end to it, and get the job done. On the other hand, so I don't want you to give an if to it or an outlet to it, but I do want to flip it so that there's no shame in starting again for any of you who may already be in a recommitted situation. So let me move on and ask you this. Where have you taken a wait and see position? Where have you taken DIQ casually? How would you, your family, your senior, and your national know that you are all in. You know, your family, people help to support that which they help to create. And they're all wearing a sign around their neck right now, because if there's less of you at home, then there better be a payoff. And they're listening to the most listened to radio station, WWIFM. What is in it for me? WIFM, what's in it for me? They also operate best with a short-term sacrifice and visible rewards. Not a lot of do-overs. If you're not all in, what do you really expect in the form of multiplied blessing? Personally, I see this in scripture. God plants his favor of multiplication on totally sold out, committed leaders. Why would he let you mess with someone else's life and future if you're not fully committed? So I believe that there's a connection between the overflow of blessing and your all-in commitment to this journey. That's when the overflow starts to show up. So number one is see DIQ as a specific and brief season of life, one that you're going to learn, one that you're going to polish, but it's a one bam through. Number two, successful DIQs and new directors, they own the main skill mastery by defining and polishing all of the skills just like they were in graduate school. I'm not sure what day it dawned on me or what season it dawned on me. There was a window of time where I was telling myself, and my limiting belief was, I've never sold anything. I'm not good in sales. You know, I can't do this. I don't like to sell. I had all these negative thoughts going on. And you know that if you've listened to me do anything in the last year, you've heard me talk about the brain and thoughts and your frontal cortex and your subconscious mind and how your brain will literally, a thought that you have, the proving part of your brain goes to seek that thought out to prove that it's true. So, you know, those thoughts are so powerful or powerless. And it dawned on me one day though, oh my gosh, these are skills. You know, these are skills, just like writing a research paper. There's a format for writing a research paper. There are skills in Mary Kay that I can master, memorize, and duplicate, pass on to somebody else. So when I realized that, I went to school on the skills. So as a DIQ, which of these skills do you own? Booking, hostess coaching, guest pre-profile. We get to party. Do you have a 4-point recruiting plan? A great crackerjack recruiting talk where you do a vision casting from a dream page? Are you engaging people? Are you getting referrals? Are you doing the gift of friendship? How about your party table clothes? Do you have a travel roll-up bag on every chair? How about the one-on-one clothes? Are you doing that? Are you booking the party from the party? Skill. Team building from the party? Skill. Face interview? Skill. New consultant first steps? Skill and system. Initial star order? Skill and system. Business debut first party? A skill and system. Power start and pearls right away for your new team member? Skill and system. Do you give her a vision to read? Leadership. Do you know how to create a esprit de corps? Leadership. Do you have a unit name and a unit song? And are you creating celebrations for and with your people? Creating experiences for and with your people? Are you utilizing a team Facebook page well and properly and other social media such as Instagram and Voxer and Snapchat? Because treating this business and knowing that these are skills and knowing which one you need to attack next so that you can master it and then duplicate it. Number 3, DIQs who earn career cars alongside of the DIQ qualification. I was actually on an advisory board when we took away the requirement to do it. However, and the reason we took away the requirement to do it is this: 6 months is a long time to be in qualification. And that was the reason that the company recognized that it was challenging on families and challenging on individuals to go 6 months in a required qualification, that there were women who were experienced, they had, you know, different degrees, they had different life experience, and they could go through it faster. So that's why it was 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 months. And the reason that DIQ and CAR changed the amounts of inventories, because the car, you know, it just physically costs more. So that's the 20,000. So the reality is that you want to make a car your reality. Why? Because you're making your personal team stronger, and the visible trophy on wheels, it's impressive, it's tangible. It says to all your skeptical neighbors and family and friends, oh yeah, I'm doing this, and this is what my company rewarded me with. Number 4, DIQs who learn to master $1,000 weeks because of strong systems, coaching, pre-profiling, adequate inventory to put a travel roll-up bag on every chair, a strong closing, and customer service. The majority of your unit will want to sell, and they will need to know how to sell successfully. So modeling it from you will be extremely effective. Master it. It's a skill. It's boldness, it's courageous, and it's a skill. I tell you right now, every single person that you do a party with and for, the majority of them, 80% of them, have a really bad makeup bag. Recently, I went to one of my really good friends' homes this last Saturday to take a baby shower gift from my other friend and I, for her brother's wife baby shower. And she has lost her mom years and years ago, but she was just having one of those kind of meltdowns of missing her mom, and she was kind of being the role model mom for her brother. He's a lot younger, and I said, what can I do? I'd ask her all week what I could do, but could I come and sit up? Could I come take plates? Could I, what could I do? And so when I got there that morning to drop my gift off, she said, will you do my eyes? And I'm like, yeah, do you want to shower first? Or because she hadn't showered. And she goes, no, if you'll just do my eyes, I'll do the rest of it. So I said, okay, well, where's your makeup? And I work out with her, 3 days a week, and we're really good friends. We celebrate birthdays, 4 of us that work out together. And she got this bag. I mean, she had some Mary Kay. It was ratty looking, and she'd gotten it from me. Either I'd given it to her or sold it to her. But everything else she had was terrible. She had no brushes. It was dirty. It was awful. And I'm looking at this like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do her face? I don't have any of my stuff. But I did. I did her eyes, and they looked. I had taken her a new mascara. Winner. So I had taken the new mascara. That saved me probably. But I did her face did her eyes, just her eyes with her makeup. And so this morning I took her a thing of brushes in a bag, and one of our nice bags, travel bags, and I left it and said, pick it up on your way out. I've got something for you. It's in that bag. So she grabbed it and called me later. You would have thought she'd won the stinking lottery. And I said, Bridget, this is just the beginning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a party, and I'm going to invite these girls, and I'm going to have them bring their makeup bags. Because here's the thing. If people knew what to buy, they would buy it. If people knew what to buy, they would buy it. So you just got to get in that mindset and just get over the hump, get in front of it, be the role model, be the guru. And you got to show your people what it looks like to be confident. She called Ann the next day, our other friend, and she was laughing this morning. She goes, I told Ann, Pam is a pro. She didn't even blink. She's like, okay, well, that's a nice color. She goes, okay, we need to throw this brush away. She was telling her how I had done it, and I wasn't trying to sell her anything, but I'm going to sell her a complete collection. Why? Because she needs it, and she really wants it. She doesn't know what to buy, and I haven't taken the time to tell her. Okay, so in DIQ, you can't afford to let one of your good friends get away from you like that. Okay, so I'm modeling it. Number 5. Turn every team member into a senior consultant immediately. There's just no excuse not to. If you've got a good Pearl program and you can talk to your senior director about, how you can make this work, I would say 5 strong face interviews or 5 strong guests at meeting where there's marketing taught, 5, videos that she can watch, 1 video 5 times and with a follow-up sheet. If she does that, 5 people that you actually get to talk to, I'd give her Pearl bracelet, for example. Then when she gets her first team member, turn every team member you have into a senior consultant. Senior consultants, I don't know the exact percentages, but I'm gonna throw out a guess. Leave the business 90% less than people who do not have a team member. So turn every DIQs who are successful, turn every team member into a senior consultant immediately before she knows she can or it's easy or it's hard. Just immediately. You do it for her. 2 for 1, 2 for 1, 2 for 1. Number 6, they get all new team members using Mary Kay personally right away. Head to toe. You make sure you go into her bathroom, you get in her space, you meet her family or business debut. You make sure that she has gotten rid of all of her other product and that she's wearing Mary Kay. You will never lose a team member who's wearing Mary Kay head to toe. She can't afford to quit. She cannot afford to quit. Okay, so another story. My friend Ann, who lives 4 houses down, I work out with her every day. I had put a little extra month. She's a Time Wise Repair customer. And Bridget uses some of our skincare too. But anyway, Ann's the Time Wise Repair customer. She's always updating serum. I don't know what she does with her serum. She puts serum everywhere. So somewhere along there, I had put an extra emollient night cream, little, tube in her gift thing. So she texted us, what is this? So I told her what it was, Mary Kay's favorite product. It used to be our extra emollient night cream. She goes, where did she put it? Well, she put it on her face, but she would never let it go out of the line, and people really love it today. So now we use it with our setting hands or elbows or blah, blah, blah. She goes, I want a full tube of this. I can't believe I didn't know you had this product, because her skin is kind of dry. So I took that down to her. All this to say, if you will introduce our products to people, to your family and friends, the whole thing, and make sure that all your team members are using Mary Kay head to toe, and then you show them how to do the same thing, that is so key. So talking about your new team member, make sure she has her initial star order and why she needs a star order. Make sure that you master qualified A+1 for every single team member. Why? It's best for her. As a sales director, it's best for you. You get bonus for that as a sales director. And then you also get extra car credit towards your Cadillac for every personal A+1. Did you know this? That when you're a sales director and you personally get a recruit, instead of the $50 bonus for the A+1, it's $100 for the A+1. And it counts double towards your car credit. Now, not if it's 1,800, it doesn't count 36. If it's 18, it counts 24. If it's 6, it counts 12. If it's 3, it counts 36. So for every personal qualified A+1 new team member you get, it counts towards your unit car even more. So 10 qualifieds A+1 would be 6,000 towards your Cadillac. You follow that? So get in the habit of making it happen. First of all, you want to create the urgency to track it, and you want to have a reward for your consultant who reaches profit. For me personally, I think that 3,600 makes sense. So number 7, and lastly, finding her why, your new consultant, find her why. Write it down. Keep a notebook in your design book or on your focus folder, or if you're keeping a file folder of each of your team members. Whatever your system is, know her why and remember it. You want focus folders to track. You can get focus folders on PamelaShaw.com under the design tools. I still use my own design book. I believe that 90 days can change absolutely anything because I've lived it over and over and over and over. I like tracking 90 days. Just this last Sunday, I went back to the beginning of mine. I was starting a brand new one. So I had to write all my vision in, my before I die in, my mission statement, my to-do list, my affirmations, my goals, my habits to change. I had to rewrite all that front part in. It's time consuming. But you know what else it does? It reminds you. And I believe that people who stay reminded at the end of every week, go back and look at it, at the end of every 90 days, rewrite it. I believe that those people are far ahead of the average goal setting game. So what do you need to master? What do you need to give attention to? What do you need to do next? What is the one thing that if you could do right now and do better, that you would get the biggest bang for your buck, that everything else would become less important because this would give you more of what you're looking for? Who do you need to call? How will you make this week superior to the past week? Okay, for those of you who got on after I first mentioned it, in the top right part of your screen, there is a chat line, and there's a link there, and it's a link to my Dropbox, and there are 2 pages there. And I want to show you a little bit about both of them. The first one that I want to talk about is the benefit of becoming a sales director and how you, what the difference is in earning. Every time Nancy would take me out for coffee as a DIQ, this is what we would do. We would sit, have a cup of coffee and a muffin, and she wrote right on a napkin what I would earn as a sales director. Now, I was doing some pretty strong DIQ production. I wasn't focused on minimum. I really wasn't. There are a couple reasons. One, I didn't want to miss it. 2, I was already, in a car, so I didn't really understand the maintenance of it. So I just knew if I did a lot, that it would be enough. And the third thing is that in February, Nancy announced that she wanted to go to Hong Kong. She'd never been on a top director trip. And so I said, I want to be a factor in getting you to Hong Kong. What do we need? And she said, we need, ABC. I think it was something like, I don't know, but the last month was, she needed 68,000 in June. And the highest I'd ever done, I think maybe it was 38 or something. She needed 68 or 69. And I was so excited about finding stars to just pour in production for that. And that's why we did 24,000 that last month. When you are a team player for your director and your national, team players come your way. When you hold back, when you're selfish, when you're critical, when you're mad at your senior, your national, you attract people who feel the same way about you. And so I'm so grateful that I got on the bandwagon and that I learned how to be a good team player. Nancy was totally there for me. And we were different. It wasn't like, you know, she was not the first person who made me go, oh, I want to do this. It was someone else. It was Cheryl Warfield. And then after I became a director, it wasn't she or Cheryl who made me, you know, want to advance further. It was Kathy Halou. So God will bring different people into your world that none of them were even connected to me in any way. And that's okay. That's more than okay. But my connection to Nancy, God gave her to me as my senior for a reason. And I learned from her and I was loyal to her. And she did get to go to Hong Kong. And we did finish that unit victory. And I was so blessed to be a part of it. We did 24,000 that June. We did 8,000 in July. The first month I was a director, we did 8,000. So, and people said, well, didn't you ever think about holding any of that production back? It never crossed my mind to hold that production back. I would never have held that production back. You never hold back. You can't say, I want abundance and then hold something back. Those two just don't even work together. If you want to live a life of abundance, you've got to live all in, all the time on the other side of the line. You never hold anything back. But even at 8,000, it was a great commission check. And that's what this first sheet is all about. It's just assuming that you do 10,000 personal team production or 10,000 unit production. And without walking you through it, the difference is that as if you did 10,000 personal team production based on all your bonuses and your 13% and all of that, your profit from sales based on a $2,000 sales month, your earnings would be $3,472. But if you did that exact same thing, your earnings as a sales director would be $7,072. And then there are so many more bonuses listed at the bottom of this that new directors can count on. And what's not even listed here is a quarterly leadership bonus for all your star recruiters, all the red jackets in your team. So there are even more bonuses than what's listed down here. But I thought you might want to take a look at that, because every time Nancy would take me out for a cup of coffee, or we would meet for a cup of coffee, that's what she would show me, is what my earnings were going to be. Why? Well, because I was in debt, and that was I was leaving education. I was leaving the security that I had known. Earning was a big deal. I needed to know that I could earn. I was single then. You know, I was single for a long part of my Mary Kay journey. I didn't know that I could take care of myself. I did not want to be calling my parents and asking for money at age 26 after they'd already put me through college and I'd already, you know, gotten into debt. I mean, I did not want to be asking my parents for money. I needed to not only pay my way, but I needed to pay down my debt that I had incurred teaching school over those 5 years. So I needed to learn how to earn. I needed to understand the marketing plan, and I needed to learn how to tap it out. And Nancy continually put that in front of me. So I put that document together for that very purpose. The second one is our Epic Family DIQ tracking sheet. And here's what I love about this, and here's why it was put together. Okay, ready? When I was a DIQ, I know you love some of these stories. You're like, yeah, when I went in school and I walked in the snow, barefoot, uphill, both ways. I know sometimes it sounds like that. But when I was a DIQ, I had to fax my weekly sheet. Looked very much like this. It wasn't this graphic-y, but just lines, to Mary Kay Ash. And she read them and commented on them and gave them back. So you better bet I wanted mine to look good. So here's what's on our Epic DIQ weekly sheet. You're like, 20 faces. Okay, for the month. No, for the week. 20 faces for the week. You're in DIQ, for crying out loud. Go for it. Don't do a week of three faces, 5 faces, 10 faces. You're getting closer. But 20 faces divided by 6 is 3 parties and 2 more facials, or a double facial. You've got to make time to do it big now, because you're going to be able to do more. You're going to be able to do the same thing later on much less time. So 20 faces, 10 new bookings. You want to keep 10 parties on your date book at all times. 1 daily check-in with your mentor or coach, 5 personal shares. That means face-to-face interviews. Live interviews from people who try the product within 24 to 36 hours. And then on the right side, what it's asking you for at the end of every week is your personal. Do the numbers for the month to date. How many faces, month to date, how many faces, how many parties, how many retail sales, personal shares, how many new personal team members, how many leads from parties and warm chatter. How about your team? This is a key point. You are not a one-woman show. You are building a team of people who multiply. If you want exponential growth, we've got to do more than add. We've got to multiply, and then we'll have exponential growth. So if you don't know what your team is doing, how many faces they're getting the product on, how many parties they're holding, how many people they're in front of, how many guests they're bringing, this is a new place of learning for you, and I want you to really master this. So that's that, and then you do the math on it, and then your DIQ finishing goals. I think both of these 2 sheets are really awesome. If I say so myself, Leah, Julia, and I are excited about tracking those things and really supporting our DIQs to excellence. Why? Because our Epic family is known for excellence and record breaking, and we want to take that to a whole new level. I believe that the greatest national in our Epic family has probably not even debuted yet, and I have 2 incredible offspring national sales directors, Julia Burnett and Leah Laughlin. They are phenomenal women, phenomenal leaders. They will both be inner circle so soon. And then the late Barbara Johnson, who passed away a year ago in April, who is my 3rd offspring national, just such a legacy of excellence in absolutely everything she did. We want our DIQs up and coming to be able to latch onto that excellence, and we want them to be able to launch in their own sweet spot. How do you launch into excellence? Well, first of all, it's got to be created by somebody. So I'm passing on the legacy. Mary Kay Ash was the national sales director to Doretha Dingler. Doretha Dingler was the national sales director to Nan Stroud, who was my senior national. Nan Stroud was senior director to Nancy Perry, who was my senior. And then our legacy is strong. But it's strong as long as I keep it strong and the people after me keep it strong. Yours is strong. If you're in the go-give area, Mary Kay was your national sales director. You are in direct line to Mary Kay. And so her line is as strong as you keep it strong. So I hope that you hear what I'm saying. I really do. I'm excited for you, and what you're walking through right now it is a journey. It is a proving ground, but what you're walking towards, it is a lifestyle that you could never imagine. I've got a clothes rack out in my closet right now. I've pulled some clothes to pack for Spain. 1 week from Saturday, I'll be flying to Spain. I think we're flying into Madrid and sailing to Barcelona. I think that's the order of it. I haven't fully looked, but I've been pulling some clothes. A year ago, we were flying to Dubai and London. Last year, we recorded at Abbey Road Studios in studio number 2, where the Beatles did all of their recording. We recorded a song, like have it on CD and everything. Here comes the sun, do, 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 do. It was an incredible experience. Dubai, it was an incredible experience. And so I'll be with all the national sales directors on I think it's a 9-day, 8-day, 7, 9-day cruise throughout Spain. And then as an inner circle national, we're going to go 5 more days to Mallorca. Never been to Mallorca. Or I could be getting out of school as a high school English teacher. It'll probably be letting out in a couple of weeks. So the pathway that you're choosing is a pathway that will open up opportunities that you could never imagine. April 30th, I celebrated my 30th anniversary in Mary Kay. I know I started when I was 8. But I just want you to know that what you're sacrificing now is so worth it. And you don't even know what's coming next. But I will tell you that it is going to be better than my journey, and it is going to be more luxurious than my journey. So of those of you who entered your numbers in the group document, here are a few of you I'd like to give a shout out to. Susan Jonathan from the Mentaplee area put the product on 11 faces and sold 1,014. Lindsay Anderson from the Craig area put the product on 12 faces and sold 1,068 and has 13 new parties booked. Victoria Vargo from the Valeria area put the product on 5 faces, 425 week, 4 new parties booked, but 6 new team members, 3 personal and 3 team. Becky Clements from the Gelser national area put the product on 7 faces, 800 in sales, 3 new parties booked, and added 4 to her DIQ team last week. So how about that? Your role is to, 1, learn and master the skills of this business so that you have integrity. You need to be duplicatable in all that you do. You do not want to hear people say, I could never do what you do. You want to be skilled, but not perfect. So what skill have you improved and practiced and attacked this week? What skill would you be well served to give more student-like professional attention to this week? And then I want you to multiply, number 2, I want you to multiply exponential growth. Lead leaders. Lead leaders. How many leaders are on my team right now? How many seniors are on my team right now? Where can I give greater attention to pearls of sharing and the opportunity, the benefit of being in red and of the career car and leadership? How am I growing my leadership? What recordings am I listening to? What books am I reading? How am I connected to other leaders? Get connected to me. If you're not already following me at Pamela Shaw on Instagram, do that. I've just started Snapchatting, so follow me on Snapchat at Pamela Shaw. But follow leaders who have experience in leading and success in leading. Successful leaders think differently from other people. So what I wanted to learn was, how do other successful people think? And so I started listening. You know, for me, it was cassette tape and CD as they started coming out all the time, in my car, in my dressing area, on the treadmill. Anytime I was in a lag, I didn't have the news on. I didn't have other stuff on. I was feeding my mind. You know why? Because your mind is very pliable. And what you think is literally, your thoughts take up mental real estate. So if your thoughts are healthy, you can just think of all these little green trees, like healthy thoughts in your mind. And if they're not, then they're all these little dead branches. Here's the thing. You can kill off the dead branches by replacing them with a new green leafy. If any of you live in a 4-season state and you just watched branches turn into lime green buds, turn into beautiful green trees and blooms, same thing's happening in your brain. You get to control that. So what recording are you listening to? And what book are you reading? And how are you connected to other leaders? So lastly, I said that I would give you the common character traits and key components of all successful DIQs who move forward and become successful directors. So here they are in a nutshell. To wrap it up, number 1, they're clear. They're clear. Clear of the next promotion, clear of the qualifications, clear what work and activity it's going to take, clear of the deadline and the date to cross the finish line. They are clear. Number 2, they are committed. They're committed to the completion of the goal no matter what. Adjustment of the activity, priority, sacrifice, schedule. If you get to 1 week and you had 3 faces and not 20, adjust immediately. If you get to the end of 1 week and you did 2 interviews and not 5, adjust immediately. Don't pretend like you don't know what's happening or you don't know what to do. Success accumulates and every single week collects. It snowballs. And so you want to make sure that that's happening. So number 2, committed to the completion of the goal no matter what. Number 3, convinced. Convinced that the reward is worth the price. No wavering in the court of public opinion or rejection or disappointment. Number 4, charismatic. To engage and attract others to join in on the movement of designing a life that doesn't exist in any other company or in any other pocket of life. Charismatic. People want to do what you're doing. They don't even care what you're doing. They just want to do it with you because you're so charismatic and convinced. And number 5, connected. Connected to those who have gone before you. The legacy, the tradition. Connected to the guidance of a mentor and coach. Connected to the necessary accountability that will polish your skills, to purge bad habits, to sharpen your skills and character as you grow personally, professionally, and spiritually. And this will hold true of your next promotion. These 5 C's, when in place as a new director, these 5 C's, they'll advance you again. And when you're a new Cadillac director, those 5 C's, they'll advance you again. And when you're a national sales director, those same 5 C's, they will advance you again. So I want to end tonight giving you a scripture. It's Leah Laughlin's national area scripture, and it's Psalm 90, verse 17. Let the favor of the Lord our God be upon us and establish the work of our hands. Yes, establish the work of our hands. So I hope and pray that you've gotten something beneficial from our time tonight. I hope that I gave you something that you needed, that you can go the next mile, the next distance on your journey. I just pray that May is overwhelmingly successful, that it is just full of favor and multiplication, and that you meet tomorrow the person who could change everything. You know, you never know when you go to a party who's going to be sitting around that table and who the next person is that can change the trajectory of everything you're doing. And that's why we pre-profile them. That's why we go to that party. You just never know, but God does know. and he has pre-selected your beautiful and amazing unit. And I do pray that he will put his hand on you, and that the favor of his multiplication power will bless you and guide you and overwhelm you, and that you will look out like I look out and say, oh, I did not deserve this. I do not deserve this. But I'm so grateful that I stayed the course, because there were times when I looked around, looked to the right and left, and the disappointment, the pain of disappointment and setback, or, it felt like it was too much. But I'm so glad I did, because now I truly get to live the life of my dreams with tremendous flexibility. I love you. I'm cheering for you. I'm so grateful you're a part of our company, and I'm so grateful that you're going to be one of our very next leaders. So if you're listening as a DIQ, the next time I'll see you probably is going to be in your director suit. If you're a sales director already, I want to hear about your victory and what you've done as a result of this hangout tonight. So good night. Have a great week, great weekend, fabulous May, fabulous June. Nail your seminar wins. Know what those wins are, and come to Dallas with wins that you are so excited to celebrate. And I'll be excited to celebrate you as well. So good night.